Well, everybody, it is safe to say that we are days away from the next Escape from Tarkov wipe. The final patch event has begun, the dirt cheap trades, which makes everything extremely cheap. Some items do retain their sale value, and there are ways to manipulate the economy to the point where basically everybody has an infinite amount of currency. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my post-raid goals for new players that might be coming into the game for the first time or might be experiencing their first post-wipe. Some of the things to focus on, some of the things that I'll be getting after right at the beginning of the patch. Before we continue, just for my regulars that watch the stream, especially during patch days, it is very likely that I will not be here to cover the patch when it drops. That is, if the patch drops on the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th. That also means that YouTube content related to the brand new Escape from Tarkov patch 10.5 will not be uploaded until the 12th or later. However, I do appreciate your guys' patience with me. It is absolutely out of my control. Family always comes first, and I will be back to kick some ass in Tarkov on Monday. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get started. First off, the preliminary patch notes are available on the subreddit. A link to that will be included in the description box below, where it goes into a little bit more detail on what we're going to be expecting with some of the intricacies of the brand new patch. This includes changes to the AI behavior, as well as how you modify your weapons with ergonomics and recoil. When it comes to changes to the tasks, there doesn't seem to be any listed in the prelims at this moment. Things are always subject to change, but for those that have completed the tasks in the past, it doesn't seem like you have to experience anything any different. And there is only one new confirmed quest line, which is with the mechanic called Tarkov Marksman. I'm aware that some of my task guides are outdated, although if you do go back to Prepper, Therapist, and Skier, some of the information regarding the placements, such as delivery from the past, obtaining keys, and also planting objects for the chemical series are still very much up to date. However, I do plan on creating updated guides for each trader very soon. I've waited because I was worried that things would be changing around patch 10.5 or 11 when it comes to the tasks, and that just doesn't seem to be the case. So I will get around to doing those very soon, as well as covering the new Tarkov Marksman. But I want to give Gamepedia a plug here, because if anything that is on this channel is out of date, you can just go to the wiki. Every single task has detailed guides and instructions on how to complete them all, and in my opinion, it's much better than any video that I could possibly make. So I'll also include a link to all of the task resources in the description box below of this video to help you guys stay informed, especially if you're looking for guides and content to help you get through these tasks as quickly as possible. Because tasks are now more important for leveling your PMC, because the experience that you gain for completing them has been increased. So that means that doing tasks, especially right at the beginning of the game, is even more critical than it has been before. And I know some of you guys don't like doing tasks, but trust me, if you want to cruise up to level 40, it is the way to go. And not only that, it allows you to unlock items that you would otherwise be unable to purchase, which is always going to give you an edge, especially in the early game. Alright, so now let's get to the specifics on what exactly I do at the beginning of a fresh wipe. So number one, I immediately accept the missions from Prepper and Therapist. They're the only two dealers that actually have something for you to do at the beginning. I then go through each trader at level 1 and examine all of these items. With the flea market now available, this might become useful with the new in-game encyclopedia. Number 3, I grab the starting weapon and gear from the stash. For EOD users, that means the AK-74N that comes with the PKO6 handguard mount and the suppressor. I sometimes bring the Kiver and the Fort in if I'm feeling cheeky. The Fort is useful to keep for a dragman down the road, but at that point you should have already found another Fort, so it's up to you. If you really want to run heavy and get an early game advantage, put on the Fort armor if you're feeling lucky. Next, I jump in and load customs. I immediately search filing cabinets to try to get a customs key. I grab the unknown key from the dead scav in the bush. I go to get the machinery key in the 3-story dorms. I start looking for 114 for the therapist mission, the Ermcom key, the Gaussian key, Ollie Logistics, 220 from the rail car, and East 310. Those are my primary keys that I'm getting after right away. This does not include any keys that you can get from killing scavengers or anything else that's RNG related. Next, I always kill at least 3 scavengers before leaving the raid, looting medical bags and duffels as much as I can for barter items and Solowas. From there, I continue doing the early game Prapor missions and looking for Solowas until the quest Bad Rep Evidence from Prapor. If I don't have the customs key yet, which is likely, then I'll begin shifting focus to Therapist to get the final Solowas on interchange and also picking up gas analyzers from the Ollie store along the way. Before I leave, I make sure to grab any morphine that I find, which there's a lot on interchange, and I also go to the back of the Gaussian store on the industrial shelves for a quick look for red pliers, which will be needed for level 10. This will be for the gunsmithing mission. I'll include a picture link in the description box below that includes all known task items required for the patch minus the new Tarkov Marksman series. I also want to make a note that any gold chains that I find, I keep just in case I don't get the customs key. This allows me to barter for a customs key at Therapist level 2. At this point, I would have most likely done a few customs raids and 1 or 2 interchange raids, so I will definitely be level 5. Even if I get killed and I turn in some of the missions, I'll be level 5. So next I accept Skier's first mission, which is called Supplier, and start holding on to 3M body armors whenever I get my hands on them. And this is most likely going to take a number of raids to complete. There doesn't seem to be one map that spawns scavengers with more 3Ms than the other, but I always seem to do well on woods with all scav collectible items, including Shamaskas and Pilgrims. From here, I'll continue focusing on Prapor, Therapist, and Skier missions until I reach level 10, which begins the gunsmithing mission. And like I previously stated, I should hopefully have 3 red pliers because they're very easy to find in the back of Gaussian shells. From here on out, my main goal is to try to overlap as many tasks as possible so I'm not doing only one at a time. And this is fairly easy to do on customs because Prapor, Skier, and Therapist have missions that overlap in the beginning. Before you go into each raid, make sure you create a plan on what objectives you want to hit and focus on that over PvP. In the leveling phase of Tarkov, I don't care about PvP at all. I'll kill if I have to, or if I see an opportunity worth taking, but I never specifically go into a raid just to kill PMCs unless it's required for a task, or I'm doing factory to get a small amount of experience before logging off or taking a break from the grind. Mindlessly seeking out PvP only delays my leveling progress and will inevitably get me killed, which means I lose money and quest items, which is only going to delay my progress. I understand that Tarkov is an unpredictable game that almost always puts you in the line of fire, but there are many times where you can predict your enemy's position because of gunfire and choose to ignore them in order to complete a quest to secure important items. But you're probably wondering, but Deadly, you need dog tags. Well, most of the dog tag quests usually require PMCs to be level 20 or higher, so you won't need to actively hunt players for a while after the patch drops, unless you're specifically trying to do early game barters for backpacks and stuff. After I've completed a few more tasks on customs, overlapping as much as I can, I will most likely be level 15, which means we get access to Ragman's quest line. And this task requires you to get Ragman level 2 loyalty before you can accept the next quest, and that means you're going to have to get 1 million rubles of trade value. The easiest way to do that is through buying and selling items from the same trader. For me, I typically go with coal packs from Ragman level 1, buy as many coal packs, resell the coal packs, rinse and repeat until you unlock loyalty level 2. Most likely at this point you won't have enough money to do that right away unless you've been really getting lucky with the trade items, but that will be my next objective. The way I make money in the early game is pretty simple. I either do scavenger raids on interchange or do PMC raids on interchange. I loot IKEA for the statuettes, the lions, the cats, the horse figurines. I loot military boxes and crates for weapons such as the AS Val or M4's high sale value weapons. And then I also hit the tech stores for G phones, CPUs, Geiger counters, and gas analyzers, because at this point, I will most always have at least 4 gas analyzers for therapist missions. Trust me, Ollie always has them. Speaking of Ollie, going over to that store and picking up WD-40 cans and also more gas analyzers. And if you get lucky and find one of the cash register keys, you could always mix that into your routine as well. I understand that Shoreline is also a really great way of making money if you get a lot of early game keys, such as East 310, 222 or 226, 216, 220. There's lots of great keys in Shoreline. However, this run on Interchange or just playing on Interchange doesn't really require you to have any previous key sets. But if you get those keys, you might want to take advantage of that in the early game, of course, and you'll probably be able to experience some unchallenged looting for at least a few hours. And from here on out, it's just task, 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 task all day long. Every task in the game, as many as I possibly can complete. That's always the objective until I don't have any more tasks to complete. My prediction for patch 10.5 is that they want you to reach level 40 by the time you've completed every single task in the game, or possibly even surpass that point so you get access to all level 4 dealers. Now, the impact in which the flea market is going to have on your ability to complete tasks remains to be seen. An important thing to remember is the flea market is not an auction house. It is an offer-based system. That means that you do not go to the flea market to obtain items. You go to flea market with items to make money and complete orders. And in order to make an offer for a quest item, you must have already examined at least one. So it will be an idea to make an offer for the additional questing items, but those offers will most likely not be completed right away, and players might choose to keep those quest items for themselves down the road. It won't be an immediate return, I can guarantee that, and the flea market is going to be something that is definitely used to complete tasks in the game. It's just not going to give you immediate gratification most of the time, or at least that's my prediction. When they introduce the auction house, however, you will be able to go there with money to immediately receive items that are available for sale. But that concludes my post-wipe guide for Escape from Tarkov patch 10.5 from what we know so far. My prediction is that the flea market will not change the early game that much. It's going to make bartering and acquiring quest items down the road easier, but the initial quest grind will be relatively unchanged. So that means getting after the tasks, completing as many as you possibly can, and begin your race to level 40. I'm eager to hear what you guys have to say about this in the comment section below. Maybe you guys can share some of your tips and tricks with other Escape from Tarkov players out there. And be sure to subscribe here to the YouTube channel for all the 10.5 coverage over the next couple of weeks. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time.